Are you filming?
Yeah.
I'm not ready yet.
Hey, come on. It's just...
Okay, how's everyone doing tonight? Yeah, great crowd tonight, great crowd. Well, we got a lot of trophies, let me tell you. Tonight, we have the Alfred Lord Tennyson, back from the dead. That's right, folks, we got him here tonight on the Steve Stevenson Show. I'm Steve Stevenson, and this is my show. So why don't we just kick it off? First guest tonight, you heard it here first. Alfred Lord Tennyson, back from the dead. Give it up for Alfred Tennyson. Alfred. Okay, so
Steven, it's an honor.
Okay, so I guess just before we talk about anything else, let's just give a quick bio to the crowd. Show them who you really are.
Actually, before we start off, I have a gift. It's part of, as I'm from the Victorian era, this is super new to me. Everybody, Crest toothpaste. What was that?
I said, why don't you just give a quick bio of yourself to the crowd?
August 6th, 1809 in Sunbury, Lincolnshire, England. I am one of the most well-loved Victorian poets. I, the fourth of 12 children, showed an early talent for writing. At the age of 12 I wrote a 6,000-line epic poem.
So, since your writing was so satirical and so like comedical, I figured it'd be kind of funny and hip to give you the laughing emoji. Pretty cute. Love my guest.
Thank you, but I was actually an alcoholic and I was addicted to opioids. I was in a really, really dark state at that time, and my work was, in my perspective, super depressing because it was my way of showing the world what I felt. It was the way that I was able to let out my emotions was through my work. So I'm going to pass this back to you. Sorry.
No problem. I understand. But while your poems were, I guess as you would say, depressing, I think most readers would find that they're quite inspiring because through your language of depression and hurt, while some of your works inspire sadness and hurt, I feel like also a good majority of them, they're like motivational. Like they say like you can get through this even though you're sad. And one of those works, my personal favorite, audience, have to be Ulysses, my favorite novel or poem by you.
Thank you. That's Wally Lamb. That's not mine. Specifically, that is not my book.
As I was saying, Ulysses. I mean, right as the reader starts reading, they know that like this
Reading
poem,
that book specifically, because that's not mine.
You know what? If we could afford every single book of the guests we have on the show, then maybe we wouldn't be in this my mom's basement, okay? Okay, so I'm the interviewer. You show me some respect. So now, audience, we're going to go to a live reading of Ulysses. Enjoy it. It little profits that an ideal king, by this still hearth, among these barren crags, matched with an aged wife, I meet and dole unequal laws unto a savage race, that hoard and sleep and feed and know not me. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to its lees. All times I have enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both of those that have loved me, and alone, on shore, and when through scudded drifts and rainy Hades vexed the dim sea, I become a name, for always roaming with a hungry heart. Much I have seen and known, cities of men, and manners and climax, councils, governments. Myself not the least, but honored of them all, and drunk delight of battles with my peers. Far on the ringing plains of windy Troy, I am part of all that I have met, yet all experience an arch wherethrough gleams that untravelled world, whose margins fade. Forever and forever when I move, how dull it is to pause, to make an end, to rust unburnished, not to shine in use, as though not to breathe were life is piled on life. We are all too little, and of one to me little remains. But every hour is saved from that eternal sunshine, something more, a bringer of new things, and vile it were for some of these suns to store and hoard myself. And this grey spirit yearning and desired to follow knowledge like a shining star beyond the utmost bound of human thought. There lies the port, the vessel puffs her sail, there glooms the dark, broad seas, my mariners, souls that have toiled, wrought, thought with me, that ever with frolic welcome took the thunder and sunshine of opposed. Free hearts, free foreheads, you and I are old. Old age hath had yet his honor and toil. Death closes all, but something ere in the end. Some work of noble note may be done, not unbecoming men that strove with gods. The light begins to twinkle from the rocks, the long day wanes, the slow moon climbs, the deep moans round with many voices come my friends. Moved earth, heaven that we which are, one equal temper of heroic hearts, made weak by time and fate, but strong in will, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. Wow, what an amazing work. Am I right, audience? Okay, so can you tell us a little about this Ulysses character? From what I understand, it comes from the Greek epic of the Odyssey by Homer, which is really interesting how you incorporated that work. So I was just wondering if you could explain to us a little about the character, how you were able to transform him into the poem that you made from the epic.
Ulysses declares that it is boring to stay in one place, and that to remain stationary is to rust rather than to shine. To stay in one place is to pretend that there is to life is the simple act of breathing, whereas he knows that in fact life contains much more novelty, and he longs to encounter this. His spirit yearns constantly for new experiences that will broaden his horizon. He wishes to follow knowledge like a sinking star, and forever grow in wisdom and in learning.
So intelligent.
Thank you.
So, maybe tell us a little about what inspired you to write your great work, Ulysses.
To show you what inspired me, I'd have to go on a little flashback adventure. In October of 1833, I learned of the untimely death of my close friend and author, Henry Hallam. I was devastated and didn't know what to do. Much sorrow and strife came over my life. It was a very dark time during my life. This eventually led to a time of travel which lasted about 7 years. I went all over Europe exploring and learning new things. It was the knowledge I gained over the time of travel that helped me write my future works, including books like Ulysses.
Wow. I mean, it seems like you've had a really hard life that you've gone through.
You know, Steve, absolutely. You know, it was the struggles that I faced throughout my life and throughout my career that really, I think, shaped the way, you know, shaped my work. You know, my romantic ideas of emotion and of hardship and of just torment and inner pain. And it was really the way I was able to let go of my feelings was through my work. So I am a Victorian writer, but my romantic ideas are also in there with all the fervor and emotion that I put through with my work. And to say it all, I'm glad it all happened because it was all the hardships that made me who I am today. And I hope that I inspired those who have read my work and those who have also gone through hardship, and hopefully my work helps out any of those people in need in times of suffering.
Well, Alfred, it's been a pleasure.
As of you.
Alfred Lord Tennyson also wrote other great works such as In Memoriam, The Charge of the Light Brigade, and Idylls of the King. He is said to be one of the most renowned Victorian poets. He combined elements of both Romanticism and Victorian literature in his work, which helps him stand out from all other Victorian poets. He said the famous quote, "'Tis better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all." The hardship and troubles he went through in his early life were very influential for his works. By the end of his life, he had a wife and 2 sons. However, one died of illness. He acclaimed an immense amount of wealth through his fame, and even became recognized by the Queen. He suffered from an illness called gout, which eventually took his life. He died on October 6, 1892, at the age of 83. His legacy as one of the leading Victorian poets still shows today, as he has inspired many other writers.